I've decided to port my Unity game, which I've worked on for about 2 years, over to Godot. This is where I am after 1 week of development. As a first step, I learned how to make my character move in Godot. I implemented a state machine solution early on and separated my movement logic into states. Coming from Unity, I was surprised how easy it was using a navmesh in Godot. As opposed to Unity, where the navmesh agent is meant to calculate the path and take over the movement, in Godot the solution is used solely for pathfinding. It is up to you to implement the movement along this path. This might seem like a tedious extra step, but if you want to combine pathfinding with physics, this is a blessing. On the other hand, I am using a character body 3D for the player movement, and it does not push rigid bodies when it moves into them. I had to program this in myself, and now with a few lines of code my NPC can follow me around the map, push objects and be pushed around. I want players to be able to move freely around the map, so I implemented a ledge climbing mechanic. This had a lot of edge cases that I had to consider, but I believe I got rid of most of them. Or guess not. I made an attribute system where you can allocate points and attribute dependent values like health and stamina that change based on a specific stat. I can easily add new attributes and dependent values because of how it is configured. This should make testing much easier. Next was interaction. With a raycast from the camera, I can detect interactable objects. A short button press for basic interaction and a long one for picking the object up. All interactable objects fall under light, medium or heavy. You can pick each one up based on your strength attribute. Besides talking to NPCs, the most basic interaction is picking up items, and for that I need an inventory. In my previous iteration, in Unity, I already came to the conclusion that I want a grid-like inventory system. Shout out to this YouTuber for making the awesome tutorial that I followed. I added some visual feedback and scaling icons. It still feels a bit basic, so let me know in the comments if you have any ideas on how I can improve this. I implemented item drops and now I can pick up and drop objects. For now they all use a cube with a Godot texture, but each drop can have a unique object later. Next is an addition that might not make it into the final game, but this idea sat in my head for a while. Tried this out in Unity a few times but always gave up. The rope is procedurally generated between 2 points. The amount of segments per unit and width can be configured. The fact it's procedurally generated not only allows me to quickly place them when making maps, but also opens the door for a feature where the player places ropes in-game. Continuing with the theme of a variety of movement mechanics, I added a water area. I spent way too much time on the water shaders, but this was a great opportunity for me to learn how they work in Godot. This can be seen as an unnecessary addition, but I find this adds to the retro feel of the game. Instead of relying on invisible ramps, I wanted the player to be able to go up real stairs. This also allows for them to walk over any accidental bumps that might be missed when designing a level without resorting to jumping. Same goes for the NPCs, so they can now follow you anywhere you go. I tried using Dialogic, but I ran into some issues. I didn't want a lot of the features it came with and I wanted more control over the features that I did. So I ended up using Dialog Manager instead. It was important for me to get the dialog screen as easy to navigate as possible, since you will be spending a big chunk of the game staring at it. I ended up implementing all the features that I felt were missing from my experience playing other RPGs. So now you can select the choices with your mouse, scroll between them with your mouse wheel and select every choice by pressing the appropriate number. We then added a glossary that contains all of the keywords. The dialog screen highlights the words and adds them to the list of words you've learned. These can be seen in the glossary window for more information on each topic. Finally, I added first-person animations for jumping, climbing and swimming. I also added unarmed as a default option when you have no weapon equipped. The unarmed weapon is using a combo system where certain combinations of left and right mouse buttons result in special moves. I plan to expand on the system in my next devlog with more input methods, combos and mechanics like stun and juggle. My vision is for the unarmed option to play like a first-person fighting game, where if you know what you are doing, it becomes a valid alternative to weapons. That is all for my first week in Godot. I have already made a lot of progress since then, and I can't wait to show you in the next devlog. Thanks for watching and thank you for your support.